A-To-Zed Reseller Podcast, episode 39. I'm Jamie.
I'm John.
And we're going to talk about some reselling. You know, we're just coming off a holiday break. I know you took a good amount of time off, right? You were almost 2 weeks where you just sort of like relaxed, had some good food, played some video games.
Yeah, I took a pretty relaxed break. I got done on the afternoon of the 20th, and I didn't go back until the 6th. So I had a nice, whatever that is, 16 days off or something. So yeah. It was nice, and yeah, just kept it pretty chill. You know, I mean, it's just me and my girlfriend here, so there wasn't a whole bunch of like family and kids and all that kind of stuff running around. Just had a nice, quiet, relaxed time, and ate lots of food and played some video games, and still did some productive stuff as well, but mostly just relaxed.
Yeah, it's funny because I can relate to that a lot. Currently, before we were recording, we were just talking about our time off, and currently I felt like the time off for me was like I was itching to get back to work because I had so much new things, you know, coming my way and whatever, and I was really excited about it. But in the past, when I worked in a factory for 20 years, I'd get a month off usually all of December, sometimes into the beginning of the year, because the factory I worked in did like overhauls. So you just knew you were going to be off, sometimes even as long as like October. And I did the same thing. I would get a couple new video games, maybe get some tickets to some events or something I wanted to do. At the time, I don't anymore, but I had a kegerator, so I had a home keg fridge. So I'd get it like a party keg of beer, and I just had the best month ever. And I just it was almost like I was looking forward to that month all year long. Right. And now I think just now I'm in a different situation where I still would enjoy a month of just playing video games and whatever, but I just I don't know. It just doesn't occur to me to do that. Plus, I guess if I put the brakes on in my business, there's no money coming in. I guess that's another part of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very fair part of it too, is like, this is your full-time gig. And, luckily for me, I was able to take that time off, but I mean, it's using vacation time, it's using whatever, I'm still getting paid for my job. So, if I didn't have that income, I probably wouldn't sit around and, scratch my butt for 16 days.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I know even when we do take vacations and stuff, I try to time out when to restart listing again on vacation or restart my store. So when I get back, everything's going to be, started again, because as soon as you do go in vacation mode, it definitely, throws a wrench in the eBay algorithm.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now for me, I did do some listing over that time, and actually had some sales over the Christmas break, some decent ones and stuff. I found that it seemed like more happened that like week of Christmas and stuff than even leading up to it. I know some of that was the Canada Post thing, but I feel like it's pretty obvious now people got some Christmas money to spend, and it's been a decent week to 10 days. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the week ending into Christmas was on like a Wednesday or something, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there was a good 6 days there that was really bad. And my post-Christmas payout was pretty bad, actually. But then the week after, it's like right back almost to Q4 numbers. The only thing I had it going against me was the return I had on those bobbleheads, those Chester ones. So I've got like $700 like on hold until I refund the money or dispute the return. But even with that being said, I still had like a $1,700 week. I still got over $1,000 payout from eBay. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good start to the year. Just the end of the year, which is to be expected for me, slowed right down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this was the first week I've had like a really good payout from eBay in quite some time. And while I didn't have quite your numbers, like, I would expect to be, if Q4 was running smoothly and we didn't have the Canada Post strike and all that stuff, for the size of store I have and the kind of stuff that I sell, I'd expect to be doing around $1,000 weeks, or maybe just a little bit over or something like that. Obviously I didn't have that this Q4 because things were kind of off the rails a bit. But yeah, I get my weekly payouts on Tuesdays, and between Poshmark and eBay, I had like $820 payout. So I mean, was like the best week I've had in quite some time, actually.
Yeah. So let's dive into this. I know we haven't talked about this at all, but I heard you on your video talk a little bit about your U.S. Poshmark still isn't exactly smoothed out, and you had some issues with late shipments because of it, right?
Yeah, so Posh US, I mean, it took long enough just to get it actually situated and verified and re-verified and all that crap. But then, what happens is I make sales and it's like one of them was on December 20th, one of them on December 23rd. So like it's right in the holidays. And Posh US, I don't know about Posh Canada, but Posh US definitely didn't extend the auto cancellation period. Like I think an order will auto cancel after 10 days if no shipping or like no tracking. You would think they'd want to extend that over Christmas break, but they didn't. And so for me, like, even if I pack up those orders like the next day and I send them out through UPS to Stallion Express and Stallion Express gets them, like, they were so busy over the holidays and so backlogged that, I mean, I had items where I was getting an email saying, like, hey, your postage is going to expire soon, which is after 21 days. Like, they had some of my packages at Stallion for almost 3 weeks after I had purchased well, they had it for like, 2 weeks and a bit, but it had been almost 3 weeks since the time I had actually bought the label and put it on my package. So it's like, what do you mean my postage is going to expire? Like, what happens then? Because you've got my package. Like, you just need to open the box and process it. So I had my first two Posh US orders actually auto canceled because of no tracking. And then, of course, I'd get on the phone or get on the messaging and emails with support and say, hey, like this, these have been sent. And I'm kind of playing like the whole, hey, I dropped them off at the post office and it hasn't, tracked yet. I mean, because they won't support you. And it's not a valid reason to them if I explain my situation, like, hey, I'm a Canadian reseller and this is what I have to do. And Stallion Express is causing a delay. Posh US isn't going to be like, oh, well, that's all right. Like, they're going to expect that I'm, dropping them off at a USPS. So they both did eventually start tracking. So once I sent that info to Poshmark support, they, gave me my money basically without even having to wait for it to, to get there. So, but in both cases, the buyer has gotten a refund. And then I've also gotten my money sent through once I approved to Poshmark that the item started to track. So it's not an ideal start. It's not an ideal situation, but I mean, I'm just hoping that like the whole Stallion process starts moving quicker and, that doesn't happen again. I don't know.
So I think you talked about potentially trying to ship to a different depot. I know that Mississauga one is the main depot and it is busy. Like sometimes I'll go drop stuff off there if we're heading into Toronto or for the weekend or something, and I don't feel like backtracking an hour the wrong direction. It always takes longer though. You think it'd be faster because that's the main hub, but it doesn't seem to be that way. So yeah, maybe like trying to ship to a location. I would definitely verify that you can do that. I think you can do that, but yeah.
Well, here's the difficulty. I tried. And I even went into my settings on Stallion. I'm looking at it right now and like, like change your branch and stuff like that. And that's just for like pickup locations and stuff or like drop off locations. And it looks like even when I change that and I update it, when I go to like book a pickup through UPS, it automatically defaults still to that Mississauga address. Like That's where it wants me to send it. So I don't know what else to do. The only other option, I guess, would be like if I don't use the book UPS pickup option, maybe spend a little bit more money using like NetParcel or something, and then send, just on my own, send my package to a different Stallion Express depot.
Yeah.
Not using that pickup thing. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever have any problem with the home pickup. I haven't used it in a while just because of how crazy the mail's been in the last quarter, even with courier services, right? I didn't have any problems, but at the same time, it's a lot closer for me, and I'm in Ontario, so the travel time between here and there is a lot less. So yeah, I don't really know. sympathize with how long it's taking, but I don't know why it would take that long. I've never had that issue, even if I'm shipping directly to Mississauga from here. Now, mind you, this is post Canada Post strike and all the chaos that went on. Most things were received within a couple of days after they got there, because I think you get the scan that says whoever got them, right? And then you're waiting for stuff to get updated after that. But
yeah, so like, even from here in rural Nova Scotia, like I can send it, and assuming that UPS picks it up, it's like say the next day or whatever. Like maybe I sell something on Monday, I buy the label on Tuesday, UPS picks it up on Wednesday, they've got it by Friday. So there's 4 days already.
Yeah.
Now if Stallion waits another 6 days to open that up and process it, there's that 10-day thing that, Posh US is just going to auto cancel the order. So it's like there isn't a big window at all, so I'm concerned about like what I can even do.
Okay, yeah. No, for sure. That makes sense. How about just, so like when we're talking about just like eBay, what's your percentage of still using Stallion Express to just buying eBay labels? Are you kind of like 50-50, or you just figure out which one makes the more sense? Like the most?
A lot of times with eBay orders, I'll so I do have some stuff that I've got the expedited light through Canada Post set up to calculate, and a lot of times I'll just use that now that Canada Post is back open, because a lot of times that's going to be as cheap or cheaper, because even like rural places will get like $8 or $9 for a tracked thing. Me trying to like buy another label, sometimes it's like $15 because they're often like rural somewhere, right? So I will use it for that pretty much every time. I use it for a lot of stuff that I think I really don't want to put this in a UPS box off the Stallion, like anything that's going to just take up more space or whatever. So bulkier like sweaters or jackets, or like a video game lot or something like that, I'll just buy the label through eBay, send it off that way. But really like those smaller clothing items, or just the little knickknacks and stuff, or like the items where it's like, okay, I pretty much only sold this because I could charge, $10 to send it to Calgary as opposed to $25 through Canada Post. So that's all I've charged my buyer. So like I kind of need to buy the label that way. Otherwise I'm going to eat like $15 or something. So yeah, I'd say it's probably about 50-50 though.
Okay. Interesting. So I can't remember. I thought maybe we talked about this once and I couldn't remember the answer. So when you do everything through letter mail on eBay, everything is through one eBay store, or do you have a second eBay store?
I only have one eBay store.
Okay.
But I don't do any letter mail anymore.
You do zero.
No,
So
I was doing it, but when I started using Stallion in whatever it was, late November or something, like within this last couple of months, I completely redid all of my shipping policies and stuff on eBay, and just put in flat rate shipping now, except for I still use the calculated for the light stuff under 200 grams that could get that Canada Post expedited light. And I still use the calculated for US shipments, because the rates are actually good on eBay there.
Okay. I was just curious because I did just open another eBay store. I'm sure maybe, I don't know if you heard me talk about it or not on a video or something, but it's literally just for cards, right? There's nothing else on there. I thought about putting I have just recently bought like a bunch of pins, like NFL pins, NHL pins, MLB pins. And I thought, maybe I would sell some of these online. They're worth like $10, some of them each roughly, and do them with stamps too. And I'm like, I threw them in my booth first at $5 a piece, because I figured even that's still worth it. I paid, I think, $100 for like 150 or some pins.
Right.
And all high quality. Most of them are like either 90s or Y2K, like they're older. But with the cards, I've been just doing letter mail, and it's been a long time since I've done that. It's just interesting. I didn't want to do low value items like that on my actual store for a couple of reasons. I didn't want to clog my store up with a bunch of inexpensive stuff, and then if somebody was going through my store, it'd be like, it's already a weird mixture of cards and clothing and shoes and electronics already.
Right.
But I didn't want them to have to go through like $4 or $5 trading cards, right? So I decided to do that. It's been surprisingly successful. It wasn't a brand new store because it was a store that I kind of used to test the waters on a few different things before. So there was like maybe maybe five or six feedback on that store. But it's interesting starting from new. I don't have a store subscription on that account or anything like that. I've maybe got 100 and some listings up, and I'm still making sales. So all I'm saying is, if you're just starting, I'm literally taking the most basic pictures, like the front and the back of a card, copy and pasting listings. It's a brand new store with like zero traction. I have had a couple viewers of my channel buy lower end cards from me that I know that they watch my channel because they've sent me messages and asked me about them. But for the most part, I'm making sales over there with like a brand new store and zero traction. So it's pretty interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to stop using the letter mail only because I figured, well, it's just now that I can send a lot of stuff cheaper through Stallion, I figured I would just do that. But when you were talking about that and talking about letter mail, it reminded me that I went to the post office yesterday and I had to buy some stamps. And the woman let me know that within the next couple of days, I think like next week, the price of stamps is going up big time.
Monday.
Yeah, so I think a stamp was 94 cents and it's going up to $1.24.
Yeah, I'm using oversized stamps even on cards because they have top loaders.
That's going up even as well.
I think on a card I charge $2.50, so I'm charging more than the stamp currently. But that's probably what the stamp's going to cost now, is something like $2.50 or something like that.
Yeah. And well, that was part of the reason why I figured I would just stop as well, because the last time it went up, which was in October, I think, the oversized letter mail, like for stuff between 400 and 500 grams, was like almost $7 after taxes. So it's like, well, I mean, that's not far off from just buying a label, especially when I figured out I could send a lot of stuff for $10 or less, like through Stallion. It's like, well, okay. I mean, this isn't even worth it anymore. So it's going up again by like 20%. Like, you're going to have untracked letter mail stuff, like a heavier T-shirt or something, like $10 for untracked. Like, what the hell?
So for that stuff, definitely not. For a trading card or something small like that, that's not that valuable,
it's worth it.
I think so.
And then you know what? If someone does make the claim on like an $8 card that, hey, I never got it, what are you really out? Like, who really cares? If they like bite it and you have to refund them or something because there's no tracking, well, like, it's a couple dollars.
Yeah. For the most part, I haven't seen anybody on there that's bought anything that was questionable. I have had some stuff today, had some US buyers who paid for the US. I'm charging $8 Canadian. And I know through Stallion, I can ship it like probably either UPS or FedEx Economy for like $5 or $6. So I'll still be making like $2 on a US sale. And then they'll, the other thing I was surprised about, now you talk about this and it's never really a factor for me, is it says, fill out the custom forms on ebay.ca, right? Because that's where I'm selling these. And I'm like, I haven't done that in a long time, but I'm going to ship it United States Postal Service anyway. So they're going to get like there's going to be no custom forms for sure.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice, but I don't know. So that's been going good. How's just your regular eBay sales? You said it's been picking up, but what kind of stuff is selling?
A pretty good mix. Like I've had some success with some video game stuff. Some of what came from a recent buy there that I made a video about, but even just random items are selling, like some clothing items, some other like random, like I've had these 2 Cabbage Patch Kids dolls from the 80s that I bought them for like $5 or something at a charity shop like a year ago, and I basically couldn't give them away when I had my booth and stuff. That has never sold, and then now 2 of them have sold. They both sold within like the last 5 days. So just random stuff like that. And one of the things with doing Stallion is I've also opened up international shipping, like to worldwide, except for a few select places. I never did that before because I really didn't like the idea of sending something through Canada Post for $50, and then the buyer claims there's an issue or something. Well, like, what do? Pay $50 to get it back? or like just basically let it go. Like those are my two options, either just keep it or pay too much to get it back on a return. But now that shipping is way more reasonable, and like I can send a video game to Germany for $10 or something like that. Like I sold a T-shirt to Australia and it cost $12 to ship. Like that's amazing. So I have been getting more international sales as well, like and clothing items too, which is surprising. Like not even high-end clothing items, like just a basic women's tee or something like someone just bought from Italy. It's like, oh, okay.
But I would attribute that to, okay, so Italy for sure is because of Stallion Express and because you can offer better shipping and you've opened it up.
Yeah.
But do you not think, or does my brain instantly when you're talking, I'm like, it's because you've got flat rate shipping now. And before, somebody who would have bought it's not going to buy it because it says you're going to charge them $20. And now it just says, oh, like $10 or something.
Actually, the international stuff is calculated, but I used the cheapest possible calculated option that eBay would provide. So it's not the same, like that it's not showing that same like really high Canada Post rate. It's showing like some really, I don't have to take a look or whatever. But so international buyers aren't seeing a flat rate. They are seeing a calculated rate, but it's like the cheapest economic rate possible that like before I wouldn't have even had a way to send it that way. But I'm using it now as a way to like, because it seems to be about reasonable, seems to be about like what it works out to. But definitely the lower shipping is certainly opening it up. I mean, I actually had it turned off before, so I probably would have made sales, but again, I was a little bit scared to do so because Canada Post rates were so high. So I'd have to pay so much just to get it back if they claimed there was an issue. But yeah, like with the Cabbage Patch dolls, for example, I mean, that's definitely like they were both going to Alberta, one to Calgary and then one to like Grand Prairie or something like that. And yeah, I mean, $10 shipping from Nova Scotia as opposed to like 25 or 30. Of course, that's why they sold, right? Like,
yeah, it makes a big difference. I was just trying to think. I think I have my international shipping on eBay set up as ships worldwide, contact for
okay,
for a quote. So that probably deters some people who don't want to like take that extra step, but it also probably weeds out the people who don't actually necessarily want it as much too, right? So I find good success, and for the most part, when I come back with a quote, most people are like, "Yeah, that's perfect," right? Because it is based off of Stallion, and it is like $10 to $13 on a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of what I've sold so far, the buyer seems to be paying a calculated rate of something like, like for an NES game, for example. A lot of times it looks like the post NL or post Netherlands rate or whatever seems to be like 1644 or something like that. Or that's what the buyer ends up paying for whatever's calculated on eBay right now is like $16. But then like, the post NL rate's only like 10 or 10.50 or something. So I don't mind making that extra $6 on those because it's like, well, okay, that really helps to cover the, my UPS box off to Stallion or whatever. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, even the 16 is still a pretty good rate. So,
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. There's also more risk sending things international. So, like, I don't think there's anything you can charge whatever you want anyway for shipping. If someone's willing to pay that price, they're willing to pay that price. That's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into sale of the week. You got I assume is it going to be eBay, an eBay order?
It is, yeah. So I, like I mentioned a little earlier, I had a pretty good video game pickup, month or two ago, whatever it was. And it was this box of video game consoles and games and all the rest. But the risk was I had no idea if any of it worked. So I paid $150 for the box. There was a PS1, a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and a Sega Genesis in there and a bunch of games and stuff. But everything was like kind of dirty and, looked like it just been in a basement for 30 years. To my surprise, everything did work except for the NES. I would only get a green screen, but it's still powered on and stuff. But I sold that one as parts. But the Sega Genesis, actually, it was like the Model 1, so the funkier looking one. So it was that and 5 games. And I had cheaper games. I had it listed for $150 150, I think, and I took an offer of 130. So that was almost the whole box value back. Like, nah, after fees and stuff, not quite, but like, you know, that's at least 2/3 of that whole box back in that one sale after fees and whatnot. So that was a good sale.
Yeah, that's a really good one. When you were talking about buying the video game hall or the lot, I'm like, yeah, this is not only is it going to be good profit, but I know it's a lot of fun for you too, right? Like, you like listing that stuff,
Yeah.
stuff.
I like listing it. I like selling that stuff. You know, I mean, I've sold enough out of it now. I've got my money back plus some, and I've got, you know, at least a couple $100 more listed. So it was a good bundle overall. But yeah, I mean, the risk is you don't know if any of that stuff works. So it's sale of the week, not only because it was a decent dollar value, but because it was like, okay, I trusted my gut, trusted my instinct, and it worked out.
Cool. Yeah, so mine's actually going to be an international one, and you mentioned Germany before, and that's exactly where this one's going. So it's probably not a surprise that it is a sports or trading card. It's a Brock Lesnar WWE auto, but it's also got like a relic patch on it. So it's got like a piece of his shorts. I don't know if I don't have it open anymore on my phone, but I think it's a limited run too. Like maybe not like super low, not like a 10 or something, but of like maybe 50 or whatever. I think I listed it for 145 USD. When the person reached out and asked if I'd ship it to Germany, I said, sure. They offered me 125 and I charged them $10 US shipping. So out the door, it's $135 USD for the Brock Lesnar card. So definitely happy with that. And it was one of the first in the first batch of things that I did list. So I'm starting to see a lot of these $100 cards now go out, which is really great. Well, not 130. It's probably more like 170, $180 Canadian.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I did.
And they're such like nice items to have too, because they're so easy to photograph, so easy to pack and ship. Like they take up no space.
I'm telling you, man. Like it's hard not for me to want to get all in on cards because the shipping is so easy. And I've done it in a way that so far I haven't had it. Everybody has said like, hey, this arrived great. You know, I've protected everything, made sure it was secure, shipped it in nice packaging. So I've had nothing but positive responses. So it's like, this is like so much easier than like shipping like a television, and the price point is about the same. But it's not that easy to find someone's big collection and do that. I'm just going through now too. I'm going to do like an update video on what I've sold so far. And I have no idea because I haven't really tallied it up, but I'm thinking I'm probably maybe past the break-even point, but I could be wrong. I could be like $1,000 off. I don't really know because I haven't paid much attention besides, you know, writing down little notes like this to myself,
right?
And then throwing them in my phone, and I have not tallied it up really. So a notable one though. Here was another good sale. So I won over the Christmas break. Poshmark did a couple like giveaways. I won a Polaroid Go 2 camera, so like a Polaroid Snap camera. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. They shipped it to me. They bought it on Amazon, okay, and then shipped it to me directly. So I'm like, okay, so Poshmark supports Amazon. Good to know. Check. And I asked my wife, I'm like, do you want this? And she's like, not really. And I'm like, yeah, I would use it once and then never buy film again and then probably sell it anyway. And then we thought about some nieces and nephews and stuff, and the one that we thought about already has one. So I'm like, I'm just gonna sell it. Okay. So I listed it online for something like $85 US, and it sold for 75 because it is brand new package. You know, I was surprised it was even worth that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I didn't purposely enter this contest. I just list every day. You know, I'm just doing the
right.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because yesterday I got an email from Poshmark and I just won a $150 Uber Eats card that's in the mail coming to me right now too. The same reason. I didn't ask for that or enter a contest. And I know you've won listed a few times.
Yeah, I love when it happens. I get that little pop-up. So I joined in October of 2022. So it's been 2 years, 3 months, or 2 years, 4 months, or something like that. And I have won over $2,000 in Love It or Listed bonus credits. Now, of course, you can't cash that out and actually like take the money, but I've won the $500 one 4 times, and then the $50 one like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've like either, you know, sometimes I'm just buying stuff that I want for myself or whatever. But yeah, I've bought like video game lots or, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, and then turned around and sold it on eBay. You know, it's like get good deals on Poshmark, and it's not my money. So like even if I do have to overpay a tiny bit to get like a good lot, again, it's not my money at all. So it's like a $0 buy cost, and then I throw it up on eBay and make a couple $100. Like, oh, I love it. I'm due for a win. Come on, Poshmark, give me some money.
Yeah, no kidding. But it is pretty wild because, like, I'm sure that you're like me. You had no intentions of trying to win this or anything. You just did what you normally do. You list every day, whether it's a certain number they wanted, whatever. What you were doing falls into the category of being entered to win. So and they're always doing stuff like that too.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like a constant thing where you get a chance to win. So that's one thing I'll give them credit on. Now, I feel like I do need to mention something with Poshmark Canada, though, that was a little bit of a negative that I'm dealing with today. I don't want to end on like a real down note, but I think it's fair to counter what we just talked about, how good it is. I don't want to make it all sound like rainbows and lollipops. I had a buyer reach out to me yesterday or the day before saying like, hey, this shirt that you sent me, which I shipped it out after the strike was over, so pretty recently. She's like, when I look at the tracking info, it says that it was that they had to return it back to because it was refused by the buyer. Like, she's like, I definitely did not refuse it, and I don't know where it is. Like, I don't know why it's coming back to you, but like, what am I supposed to do here? She's like, I contacted Poshmark, but they haven't gotten back to me. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, yeah, well, let me know what they say. Like, I mean, I definitely didn't get anything about it coming back to me or anything like that. But if it shows up, I'll let you know. I had already gotten my earnings from that deposited in my account on December 28th. And then today I see a little pop-up that says, please do not ship, blah, blah, blah. Poshmark went in and canceled the order in their system so that it like, you know, whatever. I guess that helps resolve it so the buyer gets their money back. But it also took my earnings back from me out of my account. So I'm like, okay, escalate this to Poshmark. Excuse me, folks, what are you doing? Like, I got zero notification, zero communication from you at all that you were going to do this. I can't see the tracking now because you've canceled the order. So I have no idea whether this is coming back to me or not. I don't have the shirt back, and now you've taken my money from me. What the hell? This is unacceptable. So anyway, we'll see what they come back with. But I think that's somebody just like maybe not really knowing the ramifications of what they think is the solution. Like, oh, here, let's solve this for the buyer. They should get their money back. Fair. But not realizing that would also take my money from me, and now I don't have the item either.
Yeah, I always assumed, and I guess I'm wrong. I always assumed that on Poshmark, when it's done, it's done. Like once it's delivered or once, you know, there's like a small window even of return or reason to return. So yeah, maybe you can reopen a case and have some look at it for, I mean, not received makes sense, right? If you can prove that you didn't get it. But yeah, crazy that Poshmark wouldn't at least try to reach out to you and say like, you know, back, or like, what about, we're gonna actually have to deduct this from your account. Just to do it without telling you is pretty shady.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least doing it in a way that, like, leaving it open temporarily so that at least I can see the return tracking. I mean, I didn't even look. I didn't even have a chance to look at it to see if that was even true or not. But I assumed that it was and that it was on its way back to me. But like now that it's in canceled status, I can't even see that return tracking if there is any through Poshmark. So it's like I'm in the dark completely. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd mention that. But I mean, it's not bad overall. You know, the Poshmark experience has been a good one, but that one just kind of threw me for a loop because it's like that seems like that's not the way you would want to handle that if you're in customer service and like, yeah, the buyer's your customer, but I'm also your customer in this case. Like, made no sense.
Have you found that Poshmark Canada is coming back to life? Like, I wish I could grab it and shake it and say like, hey, I've been listing this entire time. I've been active this entire time. Why aren't you reporting to me now that, now that things are back to normal? Because I find it even with running the auctions and the automation and everything that I use, I would expect now Poshmark Canada to be blowing back up, and maybe it's just buyers aren't really buying still there, or maybe maybe you're getting good sales. I'm getting mediocre sales still, where I thought because I was so consistent during the strike that I would kind of get rewarded, but not. Yeah. They just keep giving me free stuff instead.
Hey, cool. Give some of that to me. I'm still making some sales, but it's not back to where it was before the strike by any means. I think a lot of people really got turned off of Poshmark, realizing like, oh, I can't even use it now. And especially if you were a buyer who had something that was in transit and then it just was there for a month in limbo. Yeah. It's not really Poshmark's fault, but I think it probably did put a sour taste in a lot of people's face. And I didn't really see it jump back to life when the strike ended. That said, yeah, I've made a few sales, but nothing crazy by any means.
Yeah, I'm sure, even as a seller, I certainly thought to myself is, what do you mean you don't have a backup option, right? But, who knows what kind of, they're not going to disclose what kind of deal they have with Canada Post too. Maybe it is exclusive and they're not allowed to. If they would have said that, people probably would have been like, oh, that makes sense. But the fact that they didn't say anything was even weirder.
Dealing with this kind of legal mumbo jumbo in my job, I'm imagining that somewhere along the line, they signed an NDA on this exclusivity agreement that they are not even allowed to say that it's an exclusivity agreement, because that would be a breach of the non-disclosure agreement. But likely they have that exclusive deal in place, and that's why they were able to offer the $12.49 flat rate. But they're probably not allowed to talk about it, because in the event of something like this happening, like a strike, if Poshmark's like, look, we signed an exclusivity agreement and Canada Post wouldn't let us out of it, like to find a backup in this kind of a situation, then it makes Canada Post look even worse, because not only are they striking and causing the problem, but now they won't even allow poor Poshmark to find a solution for their customers. And so I think that's probably something like what happened. There's protections against Canada Post at all costs, basically. Otherwise, I think that Poshmark would have said anything.
So let's end this on a positive note. Anyways.
All right. Yeah. All right.
So we started 2025. Do you have any goals in mind? I know that on your personally, you've been getting back into your bowling league and you're trying to get some stuff going that way.
Yeah. Okay. So for non-reselling kind of stuff, I just want to get back into prime shape, both physically and mentally. And so I've been, getting back into daily meditation and stuff to help set the groundwork for that. And, be incorporating more exercise and yoga and stuff like that to help prepare myself for ball season in the spring. But yeah, I really wanted to also turn it around for my bowling. And so for anybody on the East Coast who's familiar with it, candlepin small ball bowling, it's, completely different score system than using a big ball, because it's way harder to hit the pins. But I typically have around like 100 average, or a little over 100 or something like that, which is pretty respectable. And but I started off really slow this year, so I just wanted to turn it around, focus, and it was okay, I just want to put some effort into this. And yeah, the last week I had a 360 triple, or 361, so it's actually the top triple for the league this year. And I'm on the leaderboard, and it's just okay, I feel like it all just clicked, and I don't know what I'm doing differently, but my focus has been there, and I feel like just focus has been a real all-encompassing thing for me this start to the year. It's kind of translated into so many different things, and I'm feeling good mentally, and it's working out with the reselling as well. So I've got some lofty goals with the reselling, but I'm not sure I'm ready to put any super specific details out there just yet. I might have a video for that coming up soon, though.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I really am still going to try to focus a lot of time on YouTube. And then other than that, obviously try to keep the reselling stuff the way that it's been going and on an upward trend. And on a personal note, same thing. Like I always joke with my wife Amanda. So like most people start the year, we're trying to get in a better eating habit on our diet. So I said, I'm going to wait until the beginning of this week. I'm not going to like January 1st. I'll just wait till the Monday. So as of Monday, we started eating better, trying to take care of ourselves a little bit better. And for me, it's kind of a joke because we do have a Florida trip in March, and I'm like, I just got to get into Disney shape. But for me, this is
right.
I got to fit in my shorts.
Yeah, get your bikini body.
Yeah, I need to get. Yeah, exactly. So I got to get back into Disney shape. I got 2 months to do that, and then it'll be a slide through the summer to see how long I can keep it going after that. But yeah, so I got that's my current goal. I've got 2 months, solid 2 months of eating well, exercising, and trying to get into Disney shape.
Nice. All right, well, there you have it, folks. That was episode 39. That's crazy that so much has happened already on this podcast, on this channel. Hope you guys all had a great holiday season, whatever it is that you celebrate. It was nice having a couple of weeks off, but good to be back to the grind as well. So we'll see you in the next one.